We're going to do the Sifra Tzniuta today. I didn't get a whole lot of chance to look around yesterday. Got in late. So let's see where we're at. My thinking is that the last time that we on page would be Tuf Resh Tes. We went through number Daled. That's what I think we did. Is that what we did, or did we do? I got that wrong. Or are we on? I think it was number Daled. We did the Risaruk, or shall we do it again? Okay, let's start with the Risaruk. There is some interesting things down in the notes. One more shot at the Risaruk, and I think we did some of the notes. I'm not sure. I just on the road. My hand is all forbubbled. So, well, let's listen to the Risaruk and let's see if I get a feel for whether we learned it or not. But first, Risaruk. So the question is, Asa maftacha the kolil shis. Asa means coming. He comes, moving. I don't know. It's like appears on our stage. Let's say in our book. He said, "Beferish Risaruk." He said, "Bebira bekan defi darko la'el." Sha'ayidech ba'aras abba na'ase ima min Mem Stuma. Okay, she's made out of the Mem Stuma. Now, how does this go? La'os hey ein sham. So he says that over there, there's somewhere we learn this concept. But the zecher bebucha become ketzad na'asis ima so os hey. How in fact it does become the secret of this letter hey. Behind it the feet shows shorish ha-mem hu os daled. So explain to me how the daled is the shorish of the letter mem. He's like a besocha niknas regel has smolid b'tzuras os vav, and then the left leg comes in. Now that's not a mem, but at any rate he says that's a mem. He says going that direction. Shehu sod zer anpin haniknas ba. So this is the concept of the zer anpin that enters into what? Enters into ima, who is a daled. It was a part of this daled. Let me see. Ima mem, who is the daled. Okay, let's go on. Who os vav sod mafteach the kolul shis. So that's the vav we're talking about. So the sham. So this is what he says. So now we're talking. So obviously the idea is that the letters themselves and the pieces of the letters too, they're actually the formation of what we have here. Or at least shines into us, whatever that means. Hey, so how do you take a mem and you make it into a hey? Or I guess I would have thought it was the other way around. I take a heb and make it into a mem. The mem he's so dalit. So you said they're right. The mem is another quote. Mem is the secret of the letter Dalet. Dalet shall milui Yud Vav Dalet. That's the one that we're talking about. So the Yud Vav Dalet is that Dalet, and that Dalet is the secret, he says, of the Mem Stuma. So this is the Vav Dalet, which actually came from Chachma. That's your regular Mem. Ki asar pa mem Dalet hey Mem. So you take 10 times 4, because each part, let's say we have the 10 in it, then you get this mem. So now what we have here is now the yud is shining at the chachma shehu b'tzuras tipa b'soch bina. So now it's in the form of what? A drop. So what's a drop like? Anyway, so this is the form of a drop. Where we said before there's a yichud that takes place. We put the yud together. I'm not sure what he meant by that. So he says that when they're separate, let me read these words. As he said up above, it's yached yud. So then yud makes, there's a yichud in this yud. Now what does he mean? That they come back together again? It comes back to be a dalet again. Havav shall milui hayud vav dalet shehir hamafteach the kolul shis, and that in fact, looking at the letter itself, the dalet, he says that he said there's a daled, then you add onto it a vav, which is the concept of this mafteach, the kolul shis, the hines there anpin. Niknas besoch daled, it comes inside of the daled, and it leaves the bechina, which is the vav itself. The vav zeira, small vav. Shebetoch daled is in the daled. It makes another leg. Shebeshvila na'asis suras hey. Now you have the suras hey. What we're looking for here is, what I'm looking for, is the Mem Stuma. I didn't get to that yet. So he said, V'olsach be'ima l'madreges chamishim sharim sha'amarno. So now Ima moves up to that level. V'sham havav, there you see the vav dahainu zer anpin. That's where you find it. I'm not sure. There's a lot missing there. Exactly what he had. Let's look at number dalet down below. Yeah, we're okay. Okay, so it says Rei b'divrei Maris Rok la'el sham v'zel l'shon l'kavar yudati shazer v'nuk kishibohu min ava v'niktesuch le'ima. So they come from Ava. That's the tipa that we were talking about. Now, previously he used the word l'tsuris tipa. So I guess he just meant the yud part or just a dot. I'm not sure what he meant by that. So now the zohar v'nuk, the tipa for them, have entered in. So they had accompanying them the yud shal alid dahainu vav daled. So he says that is there you see them manifest as two letters that came from the yud. That's the vav and the daled, which is also yud. Shal milui hayud. Okay, so we'll hold on here a little bit. Let's come down maybe a little bit lower even there. There we go. Okay, back again. So here we have this. Let's see where it can start. So Abba put the yud into ima, but when it's in ima, it looks like a vav and a daled because that's actually how it starts to differentiate itself. And you can see that this is a tzimtzum. What's the right word? This is a miut. This is it. Now you start, or this is a hafrosha. I don't have the exactly right word for this. But here you start to see that the yud, it used to be just a yud, but it actually has within it this vav and daled, which is zohar v'nuk. Shall abba dahainach of vav daled shachal b'milui hayud. Shall abba sha'oda k'benyan yud, which is also gematria of yud. L'chiyosh heim b'sod tipa, and since they're now in the condition of a tipa, we're calling them by that name. Ka'amor, like we said. L'zech nechlala hayud chazos dahainu vav daled. So now this yud, which is actually not a yud, is a differentiated yud. It's a vav and a daled b'sod nekudas yud. So his words are then the yud. This yud becomes besod the yud itself a rishona. Shehi hashara shalahem, which is their root. V'nis yachadach b'yachad b'tipa. So they come together now in one drop. Hazo shehi b'chinas yud, with surah's yud, which is in the surah like this. It's just a yud. Now, what they say here? He said, first of all, they were differentiated. If they were a yud to begin with, they go into ima, they become involved in a daled. But then he says, let's just move up a couple of lines. He says, Abba sha'olu k'min yud, that's the vav and the daled. And then he said, but the YOCHAI besod tipab, since they're actually just, well, let's just say, what is it, a dot, or just a drop. So there you see, in that sense, azos, the hind of the vav and daled, besod nekudas yud rishona. So his words are nichlal, it's part of the original yud. Shehi hashorish shalahem, which is their root. I think that would just all what he wanted to say. And they come together in this tipa, but now this part got confused here. He says now it's in the form of a yud. Hainu the ka'ama is yached yud. That's the concept. The yud comes back together. Yud shall vav daled, which is produced by the zohar v'nuk, which is a part of the yud, which is planted into ima. Chaza the shorish he yud vav daled. It goes back to its root, which is what yud vav daled rishona, which is the well. He wrote it out this way. Ishihu, the original yud. V'na'atze yud achas, and instead it becomes one yud. So it sounds to me like he took the vav and the daled, which was a part of one yud to begin with, as it was milui. brought it into Ima, and now it congeals back into one. That's what it sounds like. Ad Kan Umuva La'el. So he says this was mentioned previously. Okay, so let's move on, and let's try to get more flavor. All of that didn't fit together for me 100%. Not sure what happened there. Let's do number dollars. The Ferish Talmud now. He said, "Rabbi Dezer Anpin Nikra Maftacha the Kolol B'Shis." It's slightly different. It doesn't say Kolol Shis. It's the Kolol B'Shis. It's incorporated with 6. Hey mitzad iba v'hei mitzad malchus. So this concept is really referring to up above and down below the vav. Kipaseach as ima poteach as ima besod haleda. So what it does is it opens up ima in the secret of birth. What's this talking about? Baseach as a malchus besod hayichud, and also the same thing. See, now previously we've been talking about what? It comes along and it closes things up. Now here we're talking about the Mateach is really an opener. If it's El Deshono. Asa Maftacha the Kolil B'Shis. Let's take a Maftacha that has 6 within it. Ritzon Lo Bezer Anpen. HaBaseach HaShoshana. And what does he do? Ritzon Zerolana, he opens up the rows, the upper rows, which is atum. Let's read it again. Ritzon Lomer Zer Anpin HaBaseach HaShoshana El Yona Ratuma. It's closed up, so the Malchus, which is Malchus. Now, here we say, he says he calls this the Shoshana El Yona. I thought for sure he was talking about Bina. V'gam Kupa Paseach Bina. Oh, but it also does the same thing. It opens up Bina. Now, here we're talking from a different position. Before we said that the Vav comes in and it closes things. So we're talking about from a certain perspective because you're dealing with creation itself and the path that needs to take. Okay, we lost him again, so Shem's giving me plenty of time to try to look at this and make sure I got everything lined up. Push this over a little bit, maybe. Here comes Rabbi. You guys should help us and understand this. Okay, so we're back to let's go to the number little vav down here at the bottom at the of the column, and it said v'im hu v'gam hu haposeach habina, but also it also opens up bina. Let me get this going here. Okay, what did I do here? Gam hubatecha bebida kamo sha'amra b'tikunim, like it says in the Tikkun. Here's the Tikkun bereshis. So here we wanted to go like this. It could be broken up to base and rashis. Base the gusha. So he says this is the base with a dan in it. And it's also, so it says base the gusha is a nekuda behechole. It's the same thing as the dot in the palace. Let me see. I got this screwed up. There we go. It's the same thing. He said bereshis, base, and then the next word bereshis. And I'm not sure how this goes together with base and rashis, but apparently it's one of the tikkunim. Base the kushach nekuda behechole, which is a dot in the palace. Who sold chochma rabina? So what do we got here? He says this is the secret of chochma and bina. He said, why? Chochma nikra nekuda. Chochma is called by a dot, right? It's just a yud. So it's the bias. It's his house, where this dot resides, and that's the base with possibly the base with the concept of a dot in it. He said, which is bina. And he asks over there, and he says like this. V'amar v'ha ima nikras al mistimo v'ha beis pasichahi. But yeah, that's right. Maybe she is called the closed up world. But let's say, what about it? Wait a minute. He says the base is not closed; it's open. Pasichahi, it's open on the left side. Mataretz, and he explains like this. This is the nature of being. Now, before he worked the dollar, I didn't really understand how you got a Mem Stuma out of a dollar and then another yud, which can make it into a hey. That gets you a hey. How'd you get to a vav? Excuse me. How do you get to a Mem Stuma? Over here, he said, "V'ha imecha nikras almas dimah, v'ha v'beis b'sichahi, a matar shazer anpin, Hubame imo. Their Anpin is in the womb, or their Anpin is a line. Who sewed Havav HaSoisim as the base. This is the secret of the Vav that closes it up. V'na'asa Mem Stuma, and that's where you get the Mem Stuma. Mem from this word, Lamar Mithra. Now I looked this pasuk up. It seems to me that it's multiplying, like a rulership, something like that. I'm not sure what he means like that. What it means here, but he's saying that statement. V'na'asa stimo. He mem the lamar misra. So he sounds like he's making it sound like this: that she is a base. That's the base from base ratius. So that's the base. That's where everything holds everything. And Zer Anpin comes in and closes her side up, and she becomes a mem stimo. This is what the picture he's giving. The mem stimo. He mem of this phrase, the lamar b'chamisra. Now Zer Anpin now comes to his proper place, but so the late, in other words, born out. As is patcha ima, then ima opens up. In other words, he comes out of that place which he was sosim the rechem of ima. Now he's coming out, and she comes back. Ima v'nisha aris base, and she remains as a base. Ki havav holech the makom of the vav gets born. Umalvish rakanai the ima, and it's only covering now the lower part of ima. That's a way of looking at it. That's what it means that he closes up her opening. Is that in the womb? He's talking about an embryonic stage. Let's see if we have a couple of notes on this. The first note, let's just, to make it easier, we'll just read over to the number hey. We'll do as much as we can in our time. It's a repetition Talmud, the repetition of the Anpin Nikra Maftakot the Kol B'Shiz. Slightly different. The Kol Shis and Kol B'Shiz. V'hein b'tzad Ima, v'hein b'tzad Malchus. Ki Poseach as Ima, he opens up Ima, b'sod Leda, Poseach sa Malchus b'sod HaYichud. Okay, looks like we got another. There's a fast day over here in the drop calls. So we'll wait for a second, with God's help, and we'll get this over here and try to look at number hey. Here we go, number hey. Okay, coming back again. And the speaker, put on the speaker. Yeah, there we go. We're on number hey, down below. And so with the Fizeh, Yesh Lomer, the Gam Makasya Pischa, that phrase, it covers over her opening, the Holon, we're going to talk about later. He says, Ire hein be'iba shemakasa rebesot halvashus nai de'ima. Now, let me go over that again. It's talking here about Ima, who is covered over, shemakasa, besot halvashus nai de'ima, which is the secret of the clothing of the nai of Ima. Now let's see what his picture is. So they're in that place, dealing with Ima. Now we're talking about this Mechasi Piska Lahom. At the time of Yiddish, he closes that up too. RABBI. So therefore it says Pescha, it closes up the Pescha. The Mechasi Pescha means, it says that's plural. It's referring to both ends. So this is coming out okay. We're going to say the Iri again. It's just a further reiteration of our idea. Let's go for number hey and number vav. We'll just move through these. That he is the one that opens up the Shoshana Elyona Atuma, which is closed up, so the Malchus, which is the secret of Malchus. And let's look at number Vav. So number Vav says, Rei Bezoar, so look at Bezechel the Shona V'dechsev, Pischili Achoisis Rayasis. So this is the idea of opening up. And he said, the calls the man to Shoshana Atuma, as long as the Shoshana is closed up. I buy roses every week, so I'm getting into roses. So it said you got to get them when they to open up. Lis le recha. It doesn't. He has no scent. Ad kan. So what is a recha? Recha is a ruach. So I'm not sure what that means exactly. The shoshana ratuma, that the rose is closed. The rose is closed, sealed or closed. Now this interesting phrase. He says what you have here is the male is asking at the door, so to speak. He's standing outside the door of the heichel, which is I guess we're talking about either up above or down below. In order that he should be able to enter in. Sounds like he's talking about Malchus, the Yichud. So he has to quit. So he makes a statement that Im came Shoshana Ratuma. So therefore, the concept of the closed up Shoshana, Kodun HaPesicha, it has to come before the opening. Now, before he said that it came and it closed up the opening. Now he's saying, though, that it sounds like he's saying, that originally starts out closed, like a Shoshana. But basically, the male aspect has to wait outside and try to beseech or find a way to come in. Okay, let's move after number Vav. Well, let's see, where is number Zion? It's all the way down at the bottom. So, let me see. We have 1 minute. Well, let's go. Let's just read number Zion. Let me see if it helps, because that's about the amount of time I could try to get it. Zion for favor shatal nisham bezel the shada bezecha b'masha amar b'mayver bezel chodosh. He says over there, b'shatad is galia chadiskasya, b'shatad diskasya is galia. So when it opens, it closes, and when it closes, it opens. A pirish b'shatad is galia. What's that mean? He said ritzon lo b'kasha nai debina. Hey, Megulim, when they're revealed, okay, they're revealed. They're out there by themselves. And not covered over from Zeranpin. In other words, they're inside of Zeranpin. He's covering it. If it's not that situation, because Zeranpin, who b'mei abina, because it's inside of bina. That goes along with that base idea that we heard up above. He said, if Oz is Kazia, then Azai is Kazia, then it becomes, that is the Yisod of Ima becomes covered. They cover all the light, shalo, Stuma Mem, which makes them covered up in the concept of the Mem Stuma. There's no benefit can come out of it because it's closed. In other words, there's no reach. But at that moment that it becomes covered up, it's only a little bit shah. See if we can get through this last couple of lines here. See if we're ever going to come back one more time, or is that it? Waiting to see. Looks like that's it for today. Give him another second. I'll turn off the